The dragons are on the loose once again, talking about Dragon's Profit. Now, I saw the game at E3. What have you guys announced that's been new since then?
We have a couple systems that we're adding, and we're also increasing the level cap to level 80, which allows players to explore through one of our new zones called Inertia. There's 4 dungeons associated with that, and it's kind of a continuation of the Wintertide storyline, so players are looking forward to that. We're also introducing our long-awaited Frontier system. It allows players to compete in an alliance system. Basically, they can join their guilds together to create alliances and battle over these citadels on the Frontier Islands. If they capture the citadel, they get to rule all of the players who have houses in that area. We also changed the way we did the early game. We have 3 starting zones currently that the players play through from 1 to 30, and we're reducing that down to 1 zone based on player feedback because it creates a better social experience.
When you are battling for these citadels, say I take one over, what's going to stop people from just constantly barraging me and trying to take over as soon as I win my battle?
Yeah, nothing really. Once your alliance takes over the citadel, if another alliance comes in and wants to encroach on your territory, they have to destroy some capture points on the island. And it's a little bit of a slower process. So the capture points become vulnerable, another alliance comes in, starts attacking them, and then if they're successful, then the citadel becomes vulnerable. So it's kind of like a tiered system that you have to complete objectives before you can actually raid against the citadel. The citadel combat's neat because it's not just player versus player combat, it's player versus environment combat as well. Players can employ siege engines, dragons that breathe fire, an alliance guardian dragon, and they can use all of those forces combined with mounted aerial combat to fight against the citadel. They have to break down the walls and get inside the citadel.
Raising the level cap from 70 to 80, I can only assume that that means that the content coming in the future is going to get a whole lot tougher.
Yeah, it's pretty difficult. One of the things we're looking forward to post-launch is our raid system. But at the end of Inertia, our new zone we're releasing, there's a new story dungeon, and that's a 5-player content, and there's a high difficulty to complete that dungeon. And there's good loot in there too. It's always a good driver for me, at least.
And you said there's 4 new dungeons in the new zone that you guys are introducing?
Yeah, each of our zones basically have 4 dungeons. There's 3 adventure dungeons that supplement the storyline, and you play through, get some cool loot. And then at the end, there's the story dungeon, and that caps off the plot of the zone and also has 4 or 5 bosses in it.
And how different are the dungeons going to be from one another?
One of the things we did recently in one of our last phases of our open beta is change the dungeons to have the player play through them a little bit more, because dungeons can get a little bit boring if you're just grinding through some creatures, fight a boss at the end. So we introduced objectives at each point through the dungeon that players have to complete. It's kind of like a mini quest.